Hi everyone, Duncan Gilman here, the Dean of Students for Splash Media U. Bringing you social currency. We try to do this as often as we can to update you with what's going on in the social media world and answer your questions. We get a lot of questions from our students, and I like to take this opportunity to address some of those publicly because I'm sure that if some people are having those questions, more people are having those questions. At least that's usually the case with me. So today we're going to talk all about Twitter. It's not going to be a long show. We've got a couple of questions that came in. One is about the Discover tab. Specifically, where did it go? The Discover tab on Twitter is slowly disappearing, but that's normal. That's the way that rollouts typically work on social media platforms. They start with a certain user base and then expand until everybody sees that particular change. In this case, that change is the removal and replacement of the Discover section on Twitter in favor of more trending topics. So the Discover tab, if you are familiar with either the Twitter app or Twitter in your browser, was about showing you relevant content that you might be interested in and including things that are trending. Those trends are now going to slowly but surely replace everything you've been seeing in the Discover tab, and we'll probably have new features, so you can look forward to those. If you are on Twitter on your phone, you're probably already noticing there is no Discover tab. It's all about the trends when you go into search, and you can also see them from, sometimes they're located in home depending on which app or which phone you're using, but when you go to search for things, you can see things that are trending, things that are popular right now on Twitter. Now on your browser, and if you're working on Twitter on a laptop, desktop, the browser version may still have Discover. Some do, some don't. That's part of the rollout, is that you may be seeing things differently as Twitter is both rolling out new features and testing new features. So part of the reason behind not giving it to everybody at once is not to overload everyone and their systems, but also it helps to test it little by little to make sure everything's working properly with a smaller user base. So that is at least the partial answer to where the Discover tab is going or has gone. It's being replaced by trends. If you are a student in Splash Media U, you will notice we have a couple of classes that either cover the Discover section or a general class where you can see the Discover section visible as our instructor walks through the courses. That is, of course, the way it happens because that's how we build our courses. We're showing you these things live as we demonstrate them. So what we will be doing is replacing those classes that either see the Discover tab or feature the Discover tab itself with these new trends as more and more people are seeing those adopted on their own Twitter accounts. The second Twitter thing I wanted to bring up today is the partnership, very recent partnership just this week announced with Google. Historically, social media platforms have not necessarily played well together. Things start off nice and then things change. A little while back, Google turned off well, there's a question about how much access they actually had, but essentially turned off the kind of access that they had before to all of Twitter's activity, and really stopped, and on Google's part too, stopped indexing the amount of tweets that we used to see. Part of that's due to the relationships and API privacy. Part of it's due to simply the volume of material that's out there and what is desired by people actually doing the searches. But regardless, there is a new partnership now between Google and Twitter that involves Google searches for general topics, not necessarily for tweets, but for popular topics like Taylor Swift, for example, or things in the news. Or I use the Taylor Swift example because that's the example that Twitter used on their blog. But when you search these particular topics, you will also now see tweets from those people or brands or accounts. So a little addition to the normal Google searches, Twitter has allowed access to some of that material that is relevant to whatever the person is searching on Google. So again, you'll start to see Twitter results on your Google searches, and these could be relevant tweets. It could be tweets from that particular known name or celebrity, if that's who you're searching. Could be something just related to the topic, maybe news, maybe something trending, maybe a particular event that's happening. If there's a big yearly event, the Super Bowl, anything like that could be a source for those Twitter results. So keep an eye out for those. If you have social currency questions, feel free to tweet them to @Duncan Gilman with 1 L in Gilman, and we'll be happy to answer those here on the air. Remember, you can always join us either live when we broadcast or after the fact via our podcast on iTunes or this recorded archive version on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/splashmediau. And as always, you can find out more information on our blog, splashmediau.com/blogs. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you have a great rest of your week.